Okay, so in this video, I'm going to tell you about my friend Marco. I first found Marco at school during recess. There we were, Logan, Booker, and I just playing on the playground equipment. We were seeing who could go down the slide and jump furthest from the bottom. Alright, here goes. Watch out. Yeah, that's where it's at. Yeehaw! Yeah, beat ya, boyo. Hoo-wee. Yeah. Look who got the furthest now. Beat that, sucker. We were having so much fun, we got the attention of another kid. And that kid was Marco. Yo, man. Listen to me. I can do that. Alright, if you think you can, let's see it. Okay, man. The thing about Marco is he was the kind of kid who didn't give a damn whether he got hurt. All he cared about was being the best, being better than all the rest, because he didn't care about pain. He didn't care if he got dirt on his face, so it made him real tough. So everyone knew him as a tough son of a bitch. So that's what I found was so cool about Marco. He would have these little obsessions over things. He would obsess over developing his skills. And I respect that because these little obsessions over developing skills is what made Marco really good at so many things. He'd be going down the slide and seriously, he wouldn't give a shit whether if he got hurt or not. So when he jumped at the bottom, he tried all the fucked up ways how to jump. And eventually, yeah, that's how he won the jumping from the slide. Let's just say that it's a good thing that the playground equipment is surrounded by all that loose gravel. Another thing that was like really cool about Marco is he knew all kinds of games. I don't know, maybe Marco made up some of these games and they were really tough, but that's what made it so much fun. So some of the games that Marco taught us was stick on chin push. This is where you and another kid would have a stick, something that had similar ends on it, so then you would put the stick in between the two of you and you would put the stick on your chin, and then you would push into the stick with your heads, and then you would see who could take more pain. Ear pull. This is where you and another kid would get a long looping string, and then you would be sitting on the ground with your legs extended and your feet would be touching, and then you would lean forward, both of you would be leaning forward, and then you would loop the string around your ears, and then you would lean back as hard as you could and see who could take more pain. Neck pull. This is similar to the ear pull. This is where you would have the string or rope and you'd go around the back of your head and then you would lean back as hard as you can and then you would see who has more strength or endurance. Knuckle high jump. This is where you would be on your toes and knuckles, kind of like if you're doing a push-up, and then you would start off low, and then you push up as fast as you can, and then you gotta see who can jump the highest, but then you have to make sure you land back down on your knuckles, because if you like fall on your face or something, you lose. Race on knuckles. This is where you and any number of kids start off on your knuckles and toes, kind of like a push-up, and then you would race to the finish line, and you gotta make sure that you're hopping with your knuckles every time. So you're doing a whole bunch of little push-ups, and you have to make sure that your hands come off the ground at the same time. So no knuckle walking, you have to like hop along. Ankle hopping. This is where you and any other number of kids start off, and then you're starting off on your hands, and then you're facing upward, and you start off with your ankles where one is out and then one is in, and then you have to do a hop, and then you have to switch positions with your legs. So then you have to switch like which one is in and which one is out, and then you keep doing this to see who has more endurance, and you got to go at the same pace so that you're doing the same amount at the same time. So it's good to do this to music if you can, but you got to be careful because some people it's like their first time, and then they would like get up and it would be like they had baby legs and they would just fall right down. But the more you do this, the stronger you get, so it's a pretty good workout. 2-foot high kick. This is where you jump and kick with both feet at the same time, and then you have to come down and land back on your 2 feet, and you have to see who can jump and kick the highest. Knee jump. This one is where you start off on your knees and your feet, and then you jump up, and then you have to land just on your feet, and you can't land on anything else, so it's pretty tough. Leg wrestling. This is where you and another kid lay in opposite directions, and then you're laying on your back facing upwards, and you're lined up at the hips. Then each of you put the leg up that's closest to the other person, and then you lock your legs around each other, and then you have to try and pull the other person over, and it's pretty tough because they're trying to pull you over too. Stick jump. This one is where you have a stick in your hands, and then you start off with the stick in front of you, and then you have to be still holding the stick, and then you have to jump over the stick with your feet and still holding onto the stick, and then you have to come down and land on the ground with your feet, and yeah, and then you can do this in reverse as well. Now, the cool thing is none of these games really costed a whole lot. Like, basically, it was just like a bunch of tree parts and strings and stuff like that. So we could basically get all this stuff ourselves. So because of that, we didn't really have to ask any of the teachers for the equipment, and we could play all off in the field by ourselves, where none of those lazy-ass lunch monitors didn't bother to check. Like, they didn't really come up to the end of the field very much. So none of the school staff knew what the fuck we were doing. We were having all kinds of competitions, and none of them really knew. We were just like out there having fun, and just like, yeah, that's what we're doing. And these are like tough as hell games, and I'm pretty sure none of the teachers would be approving of them. Well, maybe some of them, but other ones maybe not so much. So there's a lesson to be learned here. These games didn't really cost very much, so if you don't have money, or even if you do, you can be playing all kinds of games basically anytime. So if you're bored, then just think of something new. Use your imagination, and if you have someone to compete with, it's that much better.